2.4, day 1. All right, we have 5 examples we're going to look at today. So today we're talking about the chain rule, and the chain rule means take the derivative of the whole thing, then take the derivative of the inside. Okay, so I'll write that out for you in a second here. But if you look at this problem, imagine having to multiply that out 3 times and then do the power down. Or what if that was to the 5th? Do you really want to multiply that out 5 times and then power it down? So instead of doing all that, we can follow the steps of the chain rule. So the chain rule says, power down like you normally would. So I'm going to pretend like this is one big x. So it's x squared plus 1. I'm going to keep that as a group. I'm going to power the 3 down in front. Keeping the x squared plus 1 exactly the same. I just lowered the exponent by 1. Then the chain rule says after you take the derivative of that whole thing, now just take the derivative of the inside. So the derivative of just x squared plus 1, that's 2x. So my final answer is 3 times 2x, so 6x times x squared plus 1 squared. I am not going to ask you to FOIL that out or anything. You just combine what you can and then leave it alone. All right, so let's try number 2. So my derivative, I don't want to have to multiply this out 3 times. I'm just going to power that down. So 3 goes out front. I'm going to rewrite this exactly the way I see it. And I'm going to lower it by 1. Now I'm going to take the derivative of the inside. Well, the derivative of this inside is 3 minus 4x. Now you could rewrite this to be 3 minus 4x, and then 3x minus 2x squared. So that is your answer. You could distribute that 3 in, although it's unnecessary. So either the top answer here, or if you rewrote it in a different order, that's fine too. So again, I powered that down, rewrote it exactly the same, just lowered it by 1, and then took the derivative of the inside. All right, so 3. The first thing I'm going to do in 3, though, is I'm going to rewrite this to be y equals parentheses x squared minus 1, and I'm going to write it to the 2/3 power. All right, so now I'm going to power down. 2/3 goes in front. Rewrite it exactly the way you see it. And then if I subtract 1 from that, if I power it down, now I'm at a negative 1/3. Now I take the derivative of the inside, which is 2x. So just like before, in that worksheet, make sure you're deliberate on what's in the numerator and what's in the denominator. So my derivative in the numerator is this 2 times 2x. In the denominator is that 3, and then x squared minus 1 to the 1/3. All right, we're going to do 2 more, but the basic idea of the chain rule is you take the derivative of the whole times the derivative of the inside. All right, so I am always kind of a believer here in rewriting this, if I can, so I can avoid product rule or quotient rule. So I don't have a variable in the top. So I don't have to worry about quotient rule at all. So I'm going to rewrite this first to be negative 7, 2x minus 3 to the negative 2nd. Okay, now that I've done that, now we're going to go through, and now I'm going to do my derivative here with using the chain rule. I'm going to take that negative 2, multiply it out front, so that gets me 14, times 2x minus 3, lower it by 1. Now I have to take the derivative of the inside. So the derivative of that inside is times 2. So my final answer here is going to be 28 on the top, and then 2x minus 3 to the 3rd on the bottom. All right, to example 5. All right, we get 3x minus 1 over x squared plus 3 all to the 2nd power. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to power that 2 down. So 2 goes out front. I'm going to rewrite this whole thing. 3x minus 1 on the top, x squared plus 3 on the bottom, all now to the first power. So I powered down. Now I have to take the derivative of the inside. The problem is that I have an x in the numerator and an x in the denominator. So I'm going to have to do quotient rule on just the inside here. So my quotient rule is, write down the low term, take the derivative of the high, minus, write down the high term, take the derivative of the low, and put it all over the low term squared. All right, so that's everything so far. So now we just have to clean it all up. So my final derivative, or almost the final one, I'm going to have the 2 on the top. I'm going to have 3x minus 1 on the top. I'm going to clean up this brackets here. So I'm going to have 3x squared plus 9 minus 6x squared plus 2x. But then in the bottom, I'm going to put x squared plus 3 to the first and an x squared plus 3 to the second. I'm just going to rewrite that x squared plus 3 to the third. So my final answer, I'm going to write it way up here at the top. My final answer is going to be 2 times 3x minus 1 times, now if I put my like terms together here, I get a negative 3x squared plus 2x plus 9. And then that is all over x squared plus 3 to the third. X squared plus 3 to the third.